So show of hands if you are a licensed agent more than 5 years. Is there anybody not a licensed agent more than 5 years? 1, 2, 3. Wow, excellent. Who's been licensed more than 10 years? That's 2 hands for 10 years. Wow, there's a lot of you. Amazing. What about 15 years? Wow. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. Let's give our 15-year agents a round of applause. It's amazing. Who here wants to make more money this year? Yay. Yes. Oh, say it like you mean it. Yay. Awesome. Who here wants to make more money this year? Yay. Excellent. Who would like to do it with less work? Yay. Isn't that what we're doing? I was watching Karen's slide just now. I was listening and I was watching. I was saying, wow, she's hitting my soul right now. I want to make more money. I feel like Grant Cardone all the time, like 10x my life, 10x my income. I just got back from Vegas with Grant. Dorina bought tickets. Anybody have a spouse? Yeah. Show of hands, spouse. So we're licensed agents, right? We have spouses, and sometimes they buy things with our permission, right? So Dorina loves Grant Cardone as well. She loves the fact that I love 10xing my income. I've been 10xing my income for a long time. And I've never bought diamond tickets. Does anybody know what those cost? How much? $15,000, yes. Yes. Has anybody ever spent $15,000 for a 3-day event? Somebody on stage has. Now, but here's the deal. They're not $15,000 if you buy them at 10x the year before. If you buy them at 10x the year before, you get the early bird special, which means they're how much, Dorina? 10,000. Or the 7,500? 7,500. So if you buy them at the event, you save money. Show of hands if you've noticed that. If you buy things at an event, you save money. I literally saw that on the screen today. I saw it on the screen. I forgot to grab the clicker, but since we got half of the screen up, I'm just going to throw the other half up there for you. So this is the niche to get rich. I know that I'm pronouncing niche wrong, but I'm doing it for a reason. It rhymes. Who's noticed that in your videos, if you say things that rhyme, titles that rhyme, people tend to watch them? Does anybody notice that? Well, we titled this The Rich to Get Niche because somebody smarter than me titled it. Karen decided that would be a good name. She was like, you know what, we could do it, The Niche to Get Rich. And she asked me to talk about niching because it's what I've been known for doing. I got really, really deep in a niche, super deep. In fact, I just had a conversation with Rob, who was on right before me. And, well, right before Karen. And remember Rob was talking about story branding, how we go from the start to the middle, and then we get to the end, and we like this whole emotional experience all the way through, and we can kind of visually see that. Well, he and I didn't know that we were connected with each other. No clue. He was on stage, I was connecting with him, he was connecting with all of us. And then we went to the VIP lunch, which, by the way, let's give Karen a big round of applause. She really took care of us. The Q&A session was fire. VIPs, show hands VIPs. That was fire, right? Fantastic. Fantastic. So we were getting some value. But right before she'd come up on stage, me and Rob had just connected and realized we were from the same area. Not only did he grow up in New York, but then Massachusetts, he went to college in the same exact place I went to college. And not only did then he mentioned all the cities he was living in Massachusetts, and one of them was a city named New Bedford. And when he said New Bedford, I was like, well, New Bedford? Dartmouth. Dartmouth? No way. All right, so then folks who know Massachusetts are about to judge me for where I'm from. So I'm from Fall River, which is, if you look at the state of Massachusetts, it's got like this big arm that comes out. Fall River is the armpit. So metaphorically and also location-wise. So it was the worst city to grow up in, worst city to be in real estate in, worst city to do anything in because nobody really gets out of Fall River. It's kind of the story and the joke of the city. And so I somehow fell in love with that. And I made that my niche. I made that city my space. I made that city my home. And then I invested in that city. And I made that city where I was going to build my brand and my career. And I knew nobody. Has anybody ever started in this business, a people business, knowing anybody? You've done that. Okay. Isn't that awkward? Yeah. Yeah, also introvert. So the fact that I'm on this stage when Vito was up here and he was like, oh, super introvert, like don't like being on stage. Oh man, cool. I'm glad you're getting out of the way so I don't have to, right? So now everybody can relate to me because we don't like being on stage. And yet, here I am and I'm very good at it. Because what I discovered is I can pay enough money to people who know what they're doing to teach me how to feel comfortable on stage. Show of hands if you recognize that's what I do. Yes. I also paid Grant Cardone $15,000 and he gave me 2 tickets. So I got to bring the beautiful Russian princess. Let's give her a round of applause for making sure that I spent the money to get myself into the room with the players. Right, when I talk about the niche to get rich, I knew I was going to do that today. When I talk about the niche to get rich, I want you to think about in your city, there is a niche. I'm going to teach you what it is today. I'm going to show you where it is. In your city, there is a niche. In your town, in your zip code, in your state, everybody's got this one niche. It's there all across this nation, all across this world. This niche exists in every single market. And it is the single niche that gets people the richest. It is the one where people make the most. Who here has been told, don't be a transactional agent? Show of hands. Don't be a transactional agent. Yes, I was told that too. And then they told me that I have to close 10 to 20 deals if I want to get money. If I even want to hit 6 figures, I got to close 10 to 20 deals a year. And then I started learning more stats. The average buyer buys one house every 7 years. Yes. And then I also discovered you have to work with at least 8 buyers in order to get somebody to close. Who's noticed that to be true? You're working with 8 buyers, maybe 1 close, unless you're working with hyper buyers, very good buyers. Unless you qualify them with your YouTube channel. If you qualify them with some sort of platform, your buyers tend to be much better buyers. Karen, is that true? Accurate? They come to you probably a 90% closing rate, isn't it? They come to you prepared. That word pre is important because you don't have to spend any time doing it. The asset, by the way, I'm a real estate investor as well. The asset is investing for you. Who here recognizes your videos are assets? They're called digital assets for a reason. They're out there working. Like Karen said, you're like singing to me when you're up here. In your sleep. The assets are working in your sleep. So I'm going to show you some stuff today. First, I got to go, I want to first encourage you and thank you for being a licensed agent. You are what builds millionaires. My prelude coming onto the stage talks about building 100 millionaires. I also like Grant Cardone, so I did the suit thing. It's a $2,500 suit, right? The most expensive article of clothing I have. I wasn't sure if is it the pants or is it the upper jacket that makes it so expensive? Like, which one's $1,500? Because I've been doing leg day every day for the last 129 days, and I'm starting to get tight around here, and I'm not sure if it's going to be expensive to get rid of this or just redo this whole top part. That's not a joke. That's some real life shit. So I apologize. The reason I focus on building millionaires is because I at one point was not rich. I at one point was from Fall River, and my family was not rich, and they were broke. And my parents went through a divorce, and when they went through that divorce, I made a promise that I would do whatever it took to figure out how money works. And then I made a commitment when I went through my own divorce that I would one day take that knowledge, when I figured it out, I would go out and teach as many people as I possibly could so that they never experienced the pain of having their entire lives ripped apart and taken away from them. And that's how I got into video. That's how I got into teaching and educating and making funny, quirky videos and being made fun of and having people judge you for who you are. It's how I posted my first picture naked on the internet. By the way, I've only done it once. It's one of those things you only have to do one time, right? And I did it last year. I did it to see. I did it to share and to teach and say, hey, you know what? If I post a picture naked and I lose all my followers, then you're right. Then you're 100% right. You can make mistakes on the internet. But if I post this picture and all my followers, by the way, my followers are not broke people. These are high net worth individuals. If all my followers still support me, still believe in what I'm doing, still are watching my content, then I might be onto something. The truth that I think each one of you, and Karen already knows this, and each one of you is starting to discover, that no matter what, there is somebody out there who will love you, no matter what you do on stage, no matter what you do on camera, no matter what you do in that open house. There is a third of this population that will love you no matter what. And also, there is a third of this population who will hate you no matter what. No matter what. That third exists. And there's this silly third in the middle who they're not going to care about you no matter what. Who here has noticed them as well? They're usually your family and friends. Oh my God, you post too many videos, I can't follow, I just unfollowed you. Well, you've exposed yourself, now I know. Don't worry, I too unfollowed you, your fluffy pictures of your dog not buying houses with me. So, thank you very much. My hope to you at the end of this is you decide to work in the niche that I'm going to share with you, and I want you to see the people who we're building millionaires with and the people who we're building millionaires for as true human beings. I won't be posting any of their pictures up here for their privacy. But I do want you to know that there are millionaires in this room right now. They smile, they live, they breathe, they have kids, they have legacy desires, they work hard. And many of us, once we hit a certain level, don't have to work hard anymore. But like Karen and myself and many of the speakers and many of you, we choose to be out here. We choose to do what we do. We're no longer forced by money to do these things. We come out here. I paid to learn how to speak on stage over $36,000 to learn to speak on stage, way past needing to speak on stage, right? Way past needing to raise capital, way past needing to have people want to invest with me, way past needing clients to work with me. I paid that so I could teach a room of realtors in Jacksonville to be inspired to do what they do and stay doing what they do and close a few more deals, not because of the money, but because of the families that are reliant upon you making sure that their financial stability is in existence. Show of hands if you understand you're very important, and sometimes you forget that. It's very easy for realtors to think, oh, there's other people out there doing what I do. No, there aren't. Very few can evaluate a deal. Very few can actually look at a property and see if it will cash flow or not. Very few will actually make the connection to make sure that their client stays successful. So, who here knows what's going on in the market? Anybody? All your hands should be down. Well, you got the crystal ball, you sent it to me. I do actually know what's going on in the market. Here is what's happening right here. This is from the Fred. And I want to be very, very clear. This is what's happening in the market. Show of hands if you understand. You can look this up yourself. I looked this up yesterday. And it is about 16 days old. They put this information out. So the market is tipping. Now, not all markets are doing this. Realtors, show of hands if that is a little disconcerting. It's a little. Realtors, are you totally fine with this? Totally chill? Realtors, are you not going to raise your hands on the market? Is that just what happened? All right, I've been a licensed realtor since 2012. So I've been in the market for a little while. I've invested in real estate. This was 2008. This is when I bought my first house. By the way, anybody buy houses in 2008? Remember what that was like? I like my whole life I was told I was a loser, but then like in 2008 I discovered what that really meant to be. I was like, oh, I am losing. Like this is bad. And then I stayed in it anyway, because my whole life had convinced myself that I was an underdog, right? So when something like happened to make me lose, I figured out like, okay, like when things are bad and things are losing, like I'm the one who digs in a little deeper and figures out how to come out of it with a solution, like better than anybody else. And so in 2008, I dug into something called real estate investing. I dug deep into this concept of I lost money in real estate. How do you make money in real estate? And from that, I came up with some solutions. And I made a lot of friends. And then the friends paid me a lot of money. A lot of money. You know why I don't like transactional agents? Give me a reason. Why don't you like transactional? Who here hates transactional agents? All right, why don't we like them? They're no fun. They don't care about people. What else? What is it?
Just about the money.
Just about the money. They're rude. All right, what else? There's no relationship. I hate transactional agents. Hate them. Show of hands if you've been a transactional agent, forgot to follow up with people. We've all done it. We've all done it. It's embarrassing, but we've all done it. Cool. Just want to point that out. All right, where are we going? Well, if what goes up comes down, 2008 was a sign of what is inevitable next. We're kind of hitting that. I'm going to give you something you've probably seen before. It's called the market cycle. Who's seen this before? Show of hands. We understand how this thing works. If you're new to the market cycle, well, optimism is where we start, then we get to excitement, then we get to euphoria, and then we come down. Like life is waves, comes up and it goes down. And then we come down to denial, fear, panic, depression, hope, and then back to optimism. If you were to vote right now, where do you think we are in the market? You just shout it out. Denial. I hear denial, I hear fear, but keep shouting it. Everybody gets a vote. It's like America. Depression, keep going. Okay, so you're all right on some level. Internally, we all have these emotions at all times. Who's feeling that? When you think about the market, it's all coming up and down, right? It's like that right before you do a YouTube video. This is why I love this. The market is so similar. Investing, buying real estate is so similar to doing that next video. And it's just so beautiful to share with you where I think we are. The truth, based on the slide we were just at, is here. Right? We're nowhere near any of the other spots. We're in euphoria still. There are still people who are paying over asking for houses. True or true? Yes. There are still people who are like, oh, I'm afraid the market's dropping. I'm not going to buy right now. True. Right. That's euphoria. That's like, oh, it's pretty good. It might get bad, but it's maybe. I don't know where I'm at. It's still kind of this really cool place. Don't worry, as realtors, I've got something for you. Remember this movie, The Gold Rush? Anybody ever watch this show? It's a TV show. It's like 1,000 seasons of like you just sitting there watching people work. It's the greatest show. I used to watch every episode, so that's why it's up here. So we're in a modern day gold rush. We're in a modern day gold rush where people who have won, I'm one of them. In fact, this Friday, I think I'm cashing a check for $780,000. Is that accurate? If the deal closes, we'll see. You know how closing dates are, right? It was supposed to close yesterday, so we'll see if it closes on Friday, and then it got pushed to today, and then we'll see. But I'm selling buildings that I bought 2 years ago that I haven't been in. Obviously, I live in Florida. All my stuff's in Massachusetts. I've been down here for 2 full years. So I haven't been in these buildings in years, and they've been cash flowing the entire time. It's 2 3-families and 5 units, so it's 11 units. What's cool about it is I bought those buildings for $600,000 2 years ago from a motivated seller. Show of hands if you know what those are. Yeah. Dude was like, I gotta get rid of it. And I was like, okay, cool. I want to buy it. I said $750. He said $750. I said $7. Then he didn't close with me. Dude went and put it on MLS. Cool, no problem. No worries. 6 months later, he calls me back, says that offer still exists. I said, no, the offer's now $600,000, and I know it's terrible. I'm the worst. That's what I did. So I said, no, it's $600,000. He sells it to me for $600,000. 3 buildings, 11 units that I'm now selling. I sold 2 of those buildings for $750,000. The whole thing. 2 of the buildings. It's $750,000 for 2 buildings. And then the other building, the 5 unit, I'm selling for $500,000. So when you think about it, I made $650,000 just from doing one thing. I'm going to show you what that is as we're going through. But I tell you the story of the gold rush. Because remember that book, 3 Feet from Gold? Many of you are actually right there right now in your career. The fact that throughout this week, we kind of went through this little journey. Who's familiar with the hero's journey? All right, you've seen it if you've ever watched The Matrix or any movie ever on TV, ever, right? The Lord of the Rings is one of my favorites to kind of go through. Like the hero's journey starts at your house, your comfortable space that you've been before. And then you move into a new space, a magical space, maybe with lights and stages and charismatic characters and all those really cool people. And you end up in this new space. And then while you're out here in this adventure, you get what's called a call to action. Right? You get the call to reach to the next level, to go and do something that heroes do, right? To be a hero in your world. Now, obviously, the hero never sees themselves as a hero, right? And the first thing they do as soon as the call to action comes up is they deny the call to action. No, I couldn't possibly be that one, no. But then something happens in the next scene or the scene after where the switch flicks, and suddenly you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice but to go and jump in and take your life seriously in this very moment and be the hero that you never were. To go and be the person who jumps into, we'll say, a system and starts producing the results of that system consistently, repetitively, and waits the weeks, the months and then later on what happens in a movie, right? Once you make the decision to go forward, what happens? You meet the mentors, right? The guides show up. The people in your life, the supportive characters, they show up. And then you end up with a posse, right? A party. Everybody ends up with a party of heroes and characters that are kind of move along with them, right? Remember Lion King? Like he had the pig and then the little guy, right? And like, then he got his posse and it was like badass, right? Right? Like we all kind of, like we're in that room right now. Show of hands if you're catching this. All right, and this is how I met the Russian prince. This is how I met Darina. I was in a room just like this. And the guy just happened to be like, hey, anybody who's single, stand up. And I stood up, and she stood up, and she looked back at me, and I looked at her. And it's been 7 years, so let's give Darina a round of applause. She's amazing. Rooms like this will change your life. She's been at my side taking over the world for the last 7 years. Well, 3 years off, because I was a player for 3 years. I take that part. Yeah. Who knows we make mistakes? Who here has not made mistakes? I mean, if you haven't, then, right, we've all made mistakes. At least I was able to build back and build something from the mistakes I made and acknowledge it and never made that mistake again. Not recording that next video, not jumping into finding your posse, your team, your mentor, and not going all the way. You'll wake up one day and realize that was a mistake. If I'd been with her 3 years earlier, I'd be a billionaire by now, guaranteed. Right? I'm only a pentamillionaire. That means 5 millions. But I think she has a lot to do with it. Show of hands if you agree. Right? I wouldn't be on the stage if it wasn't for her. She's the one who's always like, yeah, you got to speak. She'd be like, did you get your PowerPoint sent into Austin yet? I'm on it. I'm going to do it right now. Right? Did you do that interview with Karen? Karen wants to talk to you. Did you sit down and talk to Karen? I'm going to talk to Karen. I want to make sure that gets done. Right? The people you have in your life, it takes 3 things to become a millionaire. It takes knowledge, network, and accountability. You can't get around it. Impossible. Knowledge, network, accountability. By the way, as you're talking to your clients, you need to say this to them. It's really important. Knowledge, network, and accountability. You are both their knowledge, you are their source of network, and you are their accountability partner. True or true? True. Right? Now, when you work with investors, I'm going to talk about investors a lot because investors are where all the money is coming up. Because it's a gold rush. What happens during a gold rush? Anybody remember? That's right. Everybody's a professional. Everybody's a miner. Everybody's like, let me jump in. So we're kind of at that point where the euphoria is starting to end. All the people who were buying and thinking they were good investors, they're buying houses in Florida. They're buying houses in Florida, like vacation home rentals. They're starting to realize it's not working the way they thought it would on HGTV. Right? They're starting to see like it's not quite like that. Like, no, the interest rates are changing and shifting, and like they're starting to weaken the market. And there's a story, there's a book that was put out, it's called 3 Feet from Gold. Anybody who's been in the coaching space, personal development space is familiar with this story. And what happened was these miners went out, they bought all the equipment, they bought the land, they started mining, and then they couldn't find gold. And so what did they do? They gave up, right? Like it's like you post a couple videos, they're kind of half-assed videos, you didn't check in with your mentor, you didn't sign up for the mindset stuff, and then a couple weeks later you're just like, videos don't work. I proved it. I got proof. Look at my channel. 2 subscribers. Nobody bought real estate with me this week. Maybe the video thing doesn't work. Right, we can prove it to ourselves. So the miners, they left. What did they do with all the equipment? What did they do with the land? They sold it back to the person who sold them in the first place, right? At a discount, a steep discount. And now that person went and they called up the professional, the expert. The expert went out, surveyed the land, took a look at what was wrong. It's kind of like a metaphor for videos, isn't it? They took a look at what was wrong, what was going on, and they said, you know what? These guys were 3 feet away. If they'd had only dug right here, they would have made their money. And so now the new owner of the mine, who bought the mine, by the way, at a discount, and who bought all the equipment from the old miners at a discount, now that person says, well, I've paid a professional, let me go and take a look at this. He digs, he finds gold, rich. There's two types of miners in this world, right? There's two types of agents in this world. We're agents, we're mining, we're prospecting, true or true? Right, we're out there prospecting, that's what they call it. It's called prospecting, for God's sake. Right, we're literally miners of the world. And we want to stop having to go out to them, we want them to come to us. Right? That's another thing you said that got me, I was like, yes, preach, sister, preach. We want the clients coming to us. We want the prospects coming to us. So I'm going to share with you why I don't like average home buyers. Show of hands if you've worked with them before, average home buyers. Yeah, they're the average. I would assume you'd worked with them. Excellent. I'll show you why I don't like them, and I'll show you why I do like investors. First, my problem with the average home buyer, I only got one problem with them. They only buy one house every 7 years. That's my only problem with them. I don't mind that they don't care about how much cash flow. They just boom. I'm going to work with you, agent, and you are transactional for me in my life. I'm going to see you one time, and then I'm out. That's not the premise of a good relationship, is it? No. So I said I got tired of that. Now, the average real estate investor wants to buy 7 houses every single year. And the only reason we stop buying houses is we either run out of money or we run out of deals. True or true? Every investor you ever meet is like, call me if you got something. Every investor you ever meet will be like, you got an off-market list? Who's heard that? Yeah. What do they want? They want more deals. They want more deals. And the only other time they'll stop buying is they run out of, say it. Money. That's right. Money, capital, moolah, whatever, dinero, what do you call it, what you want? The greenbacks. So this training is something we call Realtors Working with Investors. Because when the market turns, there's only one client that is guaranteed to still exist. That's right. They're the only ones who know how to buy in a market like this. The interest rates go up, investors are like, I don't give a shit. Numbers changed, but I'm still submitting an offer. The only way to buy real estate is if you submit in. The only way for a buyer ever to work with you and close on a deal is if they submit a. So we want to work with people who submit offers. I was asked last night, right? Trish, you asked me, you said, well, what about these investors that they submit these lowball offers? What do you do? I said, Trish, I submit the fucking offer. How many more do you want me to send? I'll send them all. And I do it in a simple way, right? I don't write up the whole offer. I send an email. And by the way, I apologize. Is it okay if I swear? I'll stop. I'm going to tone it down. I can? Let's give Karen a round of applause. She's the best ever. I love her. I'm from Boston. It's like censoring goodness. It's like you don't want to take the flavor off the pizza, So there's two types of investors. We're all familiar with them. First, you've got the prospect. Love prospects. Prospects are actual buyers who actually close on real estate. And they buy 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 houses. My biggest year, most houses I ever bought was 24, no, it was more, 30 deeds in a single year. Who'd love to be my agent? Right? And I'm not even my own agent. I'm a licensed agent. I don't close my own deals. Right? Trish's like, call me. Let's go. I love prospects because they're actual buyers. Sorry, I thought I'd put up there. They're actual buyers who are ready to buy real estate now. Always ready to go. And then there's the suspects. Now, look at these two words. Yeah, exactly, right? You got suspects and you got prospects. And suspects look the same, sound the same, they practice the same words. I'm thinking about submitting an offer. Oh, I like that sound. Thinking about submitting an offer is not something an investor says. Investors say, can you please put this offer in? Suspects say, I'm thinking about submitting an offer, because suspects are investor wannabes that keep you busy, buzzing around, looking for deals. They're not yet ready to buy, and I use the word yet very intentionally. They're not yet ready to buy, because every suspect eventually turns into a prospect if they have the right knowledge, network, and accountability. knowledge, network, and accountability. Every suspect eventually becomes a prospect. I was too once a suspect. They say every master was once a disaster. True or true? All right? And you in your video may find the same thing once you align yourself with taking the right action. So all my videos are obviously about real estate investing because that's the magnet, the lead magnet that draws them in. Then you go to ibuildmillionaires.com, which I'll let you do that. ibuildmillionaires.com tells you what every investor wants. It's a good opportunity for you to learn what every investor wants. Show of hands if that'd be valuable, by the way. If you knew what they wanted, you'd just, here's the honey, come get it. Right? Ring the dinner bell. We got what you're looking for. So at the 52 Weeks of Wealth, I build millionaires. We build millionaires. That's our focus. I invite all my investors in. I invite my investors. I invite my friends' investors. I teach it for free. I teach free. It's my best course, something I was told to do in content. But I think Karen, she said the same thing. Put your best stuff out there for free. Just give it away. Just give away your best information. Give away your best knowledge. Because if you do, they'll trust you. They'll realize that you're going to keep giving out your best stuff, which means the paid stuff must be even better. Who's gotten a lot of free stuff from Karen so far? I know what's on the other side of paid. Right, if it's this good, if it's this good on the free side, well, you know what's on the other side. So what do investors want? Go to ibuildmillionaires.com. What you're going to do is you're going to see the 52 wealth principles. You can do a video on every single one of those wealth principles. They're backed by a book. Investors read books. Investors read more books than the average person. The average investor reads 12 books a year. The average CEO reads 52 books a year. There's a pay difference, isn't there? The average person in America reads 1 book a year. That's why there's an average income. Because there's an average reading amount. I'm not saying this knowledge alone is valuable. It's not. Right? Knowledge is just knowledge. Because it's like knowledge is power. Who's heard that? Knowledge is power. It's like a battery. Imagine a Tesla battery sitting on the parking lot. Just a battery. That's knowledge, right? Now, I'm not saying knowledge is one of the three pillars to building wealth, to building millionaires, helping people buy real estate is you need knowledge. But one of the other pillars is your network. Your network is that vehicle. In real estate, it's a people business, right? It's the Tesla itself. But that accountability is your driver. That's what's going to get you to the other side. For me, it's my spouse. She keeps me going, right? This event, right? Karen was the driver behind this. She was holding me accountable. Her team was out there making sure that I show up at the right time. I put the lapel on. I say the things. My PowerPoint's presented. You have to have drivers in your life. My coaches, my mentors who are driving me, pushing me forward. Those are accountability, right? That's how you go from here to Las Vegas, right? You need to have the map. You need to have that direction, like that reason, the compelling reason to keep going. So this is called the value equation. We can answer what investors want using this. I'm going to tell you right now. By the way, who here knows what investors want? Thinks they knows what investors want? Just give me some shout outs. What do you think it is?
Good deals.
Deals. Yes. What else?
Return on investment.
ROI. Yes. What else? Cash flow. I love all these words. Some of my favorite words.
Seller financing and sub 2 deals.
Seller financing and sub 2 deals. We were talking about those last night, weren't we? We went to an investor meet up here in Jacksonville.
With financial freedom.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Right? Financial freedom. Yes. Actually, okay. You've stated one of the actual desires that an investor wants. There's only 3 desires an investor actually wants. The first is financial freedom. The second is legacy wealth. They care about their families. And the third is they never want to work again. That's what they want. All the other stuff is supplemental. So just something to think about. So the value equation, this is something that Alex Hormozi created. Anybody seen this one? We know what it is. Okay. He wrote the book, $100 Million Offer. And in the value equation, he shares you've got to get this upper line to be better than this lower line. And it's really important, by the way, to be working with investors over these next month, 2 months, 3 months, because once they lock in on an agent, they lock in for life. So if you can really do well in this next 3-6 month period, by the way, your YouTube videos, the person who trains the investor is like, the way you're super loyal to your parents, even if sometimes you don't, you're annoyed by them, you're still always loyal to them. Show of hands if that's true for you. Investors are the same exact way. If you're the one who taught them the rules of real estate, if you're the one who showed them, guided them, did the YouTube video that they followed, and I'm not saying you got to teach them real estate investing. They get that already. There's gurus out there. Don't try to compete with the gurus. But if you can teach them what happens in your market, how to invest in your zip code, within your little 5-digit number, then the investor has to work with you because you're the only one doing that. There's nobody on YouTube in your market teaching specifically how to invest in your city. There's nobody going down saying this area right here is primarily 3 families. This area right here is primarily single family, raised ranches, whatever. This is where we see development opportunities. Nobody going out and saying to the investor, look at my city, right? Look at my city. Look at why we invest here. Look at where the investments are. Look at where the cash flow is. Don't invest over there. The cash flow might not be as strong. This is A class, B class, C class. All right, show of hands if you got a little education to do to get some of these words. It's fine, right? Because after that, that's an asset that you acquire. You can go teach that to investors. You only have to be a little further ahead of that. You don't have to be all the way up there, just a little bit ahead to teach. So the value equation, the idea is you want the top line to be pumped up more. You want the bottom line, time delay, effort and sacrifice less, which means we do have to discover what the 7 desires are for an investor so that we can increase the likelihood of their desires and decrease the pain point in their lives. So these 7 things are things that you can do and get paid before you close. Is that okay if I break one of the fundamental rules of real estate agency? Right, I don't get paid until I close? All right. Also, by the way, buyers are not liars if you send them through your mentorship program, if you coach them. They don't become liars anymore. They become loyal. It's a different L, right? If they pay you up front for education, they value your relationship. It's kind of like paying somebody for a service and then deciding not to use that service with that person and going with somebody else. You just don't do that anymore. Right? If you've paid somebody, like if I pay a video person to edit my video, I'm probably going to push them to fix the video. I'm not going to go to a new video person, right? I'm stuck. I've put the money in with them now. Now they're going to go and fix the video for me. I'm stuck with fixing them. It's the same thing with your realtor, right? With your clients, when they pay you for your education, they feel like they have to close with you because they feel like they already paid for that. Does that make sense? Very interesting. Exclusive off-market lists. I know we're all thinking, well, I can't do that. If it was off-market, I'd put it on market. As soon as I got out there, I would take it on. How about getting paid $5,000 to build your own off-market list? Show of hands if that'd be a valuable resource for you. Instead of you paying $5,000, you get paid $5,000. You just got taught how to do it, by the way. Yesterday it was Easy Agent, the domain, landing page, all that, right? Texting campaigns, right? All these things that cost us money. I've had an investor come up with this idea for me. I didn't come up with this. I'm not even that smart. What happened was the investor's like, what if I paid you to build my off-market list? What do you mean? Well, yeah, you do all this marketing for yourself. Why don't you just do it for me? I was like, well, what would you pay me? He said, pick a number. So I said, $5,000. Cost me $500. I kept the $4,500. I built the list. List is free. I'm on MLS, right? List free, pull. I skip traced the list. Cost me $200 to find all the phone numbers. I sent it to a VA, virtual assistant, to pull all the phone numbers. And then I sent a text message to all the phone numbers saying, hey, I got an investor who wants to buy your house. Would you be open to an offer? And then I just responded to everybody who was hating me, loving me, or not caring about me. Right? The 1/3 was inevitable no matter what. So I just hunted for it. And he ended up closing out a property. He made $400,000. And he paid me a commission for closing. I got paid up front for doing the marketing, and I got paid a commission when I closed. And I took a bunch of listings, and I got paid for those too. And then as I started scaling this idea, this didn't come to me until years later. I wish I thought of this sooner. But about 2 years ago, I started realizing I could just literally just tell my investors, you want an off-market list? I started promoting off-market lists. I became a media company. I became a marketing company. I shifted over. I was like, I'm a marketing company now. I help people buy off-market lists. I taught how to do off-market lists on YouTube. I was like, hey, here's how you build an off-market list. 55 plus in your market, somebody who's been in the house more than 7 years, and you definitely want to have know your niche. And then you just send them a text message. And then people would message me being like, hey, can you just build a list for me? I'll just pay you. Show of hands if you don't mind getting paid for your marketing. Your marketing must pay you. Show of hands if you don't mind getting paid to lock down your clients, to get the commitment out of them, getting paid to lock them down. And I'm not saying with buyer's contracts. Those things suck. Who's been told you should do a buyer's contract as it locks them in? We've all been told this, right? And we feel like sleazy doing it. Coaching is kind of like an acceptable form of a buyer's program, a buyer's contract. It's like, hey, like, you're not saying close with me, but it's implied. The implication is there. Access to live networking, we all need it. We were there last night, right? There was an event in Jacksonville called the Real Estate Investors Meetup, Business and Real Estate Professionals Network. We went there. There were 3 real estate investors in the room. It was a small meetup. It was a brand new meetup. There's 3 real estate investors in the room. Cool. You know what they wanted? Deals. So simple. You know, there's a difference between a buyer and a hyper buyer. Anybody know the difference? This is new, okay. A buyer buys standard amounts. A hyper buyer, okay, let's use Starbucks for example. Average buyer goes to Starbucks, we're probably all average, once a month, right? You're driving by, maybe anybody go to Starbucks about once a month? It happens, right? It's like accidentally end up in a Starbucks. That's the average person. Then you got what's called a hyper buyer. That right there is a hyper buyer. Starbucks every day. And would do Starbucks twice a day if it was convenient enough, if she could justify it, right? That's a hyper buyer. So real estate has them too. You have the average buyer buys 1 house every 7 years, and you have the real estate investor who wants to buy 7 houses every single year. That's a hyper buyer. Hyper buyers like networking. They like to meet other people because they think they might find a deal. They think they might find more money. They think they might find their realtor, their wholesaler, their contractor, their plumber, their electrician. They don't know what they're going to find when they leave their house, but they know they're looking for something. And the only way to get it is their network. So networking events, by the way, they exist right here in Jacksonville. They exist every city, every state across this great country. They're called the Real Estate Investors Association. They're called the Multifamily Network. They're called Real Estate Investors Anonymous, Real Estate Investors Groups, Real Estate Investors Meetups, Business and Real Estate Professional Networks. They're happening all across this country every single day. And they're great places to host. You can host these as well. If they don't exist, you can make one of your own. Instructional investing workshops. Man, I spent $150,000 on my coaching, on my professional development as an investor. They pay for these things. You can run them for them as well. Private capital for their deals. Who here has had a seller make at least $100,000 on a sale in the last 7 years, right? Pretty much everybody has made money on every sale the last 7 years. Well, this particular niche, if we forget to reach out to them, that money's still sitting in their accounts. That money's sitting in their 401ks now, it's sitting in their real estate. You can call back to your old clients and you can use their money to help your new clients buy real estate. So their old clients are passively investing in new clients' deals, taking a second mortgage, second position as a down payment or a partner on deals. And so your video content could be teaching these things, could be saying, this is how you invest. You don't stop buying, keep buying. Here's how you partner with people. Here's how you find off-market deals. Here's how you raise capital to invest in deals. Here's how syndication works. Here's how an LLC partnership works. Here's how subject to, you're just talking about, here's how subject to existing mortgages work. Here's how wraparound mortgages work. Here's how a seller financing or partial seller financing works. Here's how asset-based lending works. Here's how commercial lending works. Here's how hard money lending works. I do a podcast called the Alchemist Nation Podcast. I bring in the professionals. I don't know shit about what they're doing. But I'm like, how does this work? And so they teach the audience. They teach the community how these things are done. Show of hands if you don't need to be the smartest person in the room, but you know how to find them. That's it. Last one, so 6. Income stream number 6, desire number 6, they want legacy wealth and properties. That's what you do for them. You get them closings. Every closing, every commission check you got was building legacy wealth for that investor. Every check, even if they weren't an investor, they were a standard original home buyer, you're building wealth for them by closing on a property with them. Because property over time earns 5% every single year. And in this past market, it's been amazing. I've gotten rich not by being smart, by just being disciplined, just by being consistent, just paying my mortgage, just making sure my tenants had running water. Very simple. It wasn't hard for me. At my peak, I had 100 units, and I was not stressed. You know why? I trust in business professionals. I trust in partnerships. I have property managers. Show of hands if you know a property manager. Show of hands if you know a property manager who'd love some business from you. Show of hands if you know a property manager who might pay you a sponsorship fee then to be hosting events with you. My attorneys, they can't pay me a referral fee, can they? It's illegal. But they love paying me sponsorship fees because they can run my home buyer seminars. They can be a part of my real estate investment training boot camps, which, by the way, the real estate investors paid me to be there too. I just bring in people smarter than me and put them on stage and share their knowledge. They're not selling anything. They're just hoping for a relationship. True or true? I hate stages where, like, I feel like, oh man, like there's another $10,000, $40,000, $50,000 course, right, back to back to back. One of the things I love about this is like, we were looking at the program and me and Dorena were talking, we were like, that's it? That's the price? She's like, I want it now. It's like, you don't even do YouTube videos. She's like, yeah, but I want to jump in for the price. Swear to God. Babe, you gonna do videos if we jump in? She's like, I don't even want to do videos, but I want to be a part of it because it seems like a good deal. That's how Grant Cardone got me at 10X with diamond tickets. She recognizes a good deal. Now, don't get me wrong. I met 130 millionaires at that event. Now my database, we were talking about my database when I came up here, 100 millionaires, 400 millionaires in my database today. I got to update that request or that description. And the reason it's so high is because of one thing, and that's what Robert Castillo, we were just talking about that at the VIP room. He said the secret to life is just be a decent human being. Be likable. Like people, right? Be likable, like people, and people will like you, and they'll offer you opportunities. The other secret, though, you do have to ask them for what you're looking for. If you want to help people buy real estate, you got to like helping people buy real estate. You got to like people who like buying real estate, right? Who here has had a negative thought about investors in the past? Be real with me. Yeah? Every one of you. We've all thought, oh man, another investor, they're so annoying. They always put these lowball offers. We've all thought it, right? We've all thought that. But it's because we don't understand what they're looking for, right? Imagine if we could look at this and say, oh my God, I understand why they want that. They want their children to never have to work again. They want their children to never know pain of finance like they had to. They want their spouse to, if they die, to not have to worry about money, right? They want to do something they love. I'm out here doing this because I love helping people. Thank God I got past being an accountant, right? Thank God I didn't say, you know what, I'm just going to stay here behind this desk and not buy real estate. Imagine if I'd given up on this dream of being able to help people. Think about the same thing for you. These investors, you yourselves, I'm not going to say the word should. I don't want to should all over you, but yeah. You might want to buy real estate. There's no retirement plan. That's what that bottom one is. Partners on flips. Who's been asked by an investor to partner on something? If you stay in the business long enough, somebody will ask you to partner on a deal. It's because they feel uncomfortable with doing it on their own. They're giving you a chance for equity with no requirement, no request of putting anything other than showing up and doing the deal, making sure it works with them. Never say no to equity. If an investor, by the way, there's three parts of a deal. Deal, money, labor. Deals, money, labor. That's the only three parts of the deal. They will pay you 33% for any one of those three parts. If you brought the deal, sometimes I don't even have to forego a commission. I may still get equity in the deal, get the commission, and still have a happy client, and now have a partner. That's your retirement plan. Because they didn't give you one. There's a lot of people in there who have been licensed for 15 years. Show of hands again. It's because it doesn't come with a retirement plan. You figured it out already, huh? You just gotta keep going, keep going. So I teach this for one reason. It does take realtors to build millionaires. And there's only one thing I'll ever get out of my bed for, is that's to build millionaires. I do not get out of bed unless I'm building millionaires or doing leg day, in which case I do leg day every day. And the reason I focus so hard on millionaires is because I believe that once a person's financially free, they'll start realizing who they really are. They'll start looking at what's really important in life. They'll start doing something. A lot of my millionaires start charities. They start programs. They start businesses. Who's that crazy? They go become a millionaire, they start a business. But it's because those businesses have impact. Those businesses they feel like could change the world. They could change a person's life. They could make a person maybe have something that they didn't have. Other things that you could be doing if you weren't working so hard for money? Is there a vision you have? Something you'd like to accomplish in this world? Something you'd like to change about the way the world is today? And because money, it feels like, maybe you're held back from that. Part of the hero's journey is when they get into the dungeon, the dragon's lair, the final boss, they face it. They're facing that. Should I commit? Should I go all the way? Should I jump in? By now I've been through so much pain and struggle and suffering in my life. Does it make sense to just give up and die here? Or do I figure something out? Do I let go of the end result and just push forward and do what I know is the right thing to do and take the actions that I was designed to do, put on this planet to do? Like the Buddhists, they call it dharma, your purpose, or your calling, the thing you're meant to do in this world, the change you're supposed to create so that others can experience that which you were sent here to do. That part, usually in most movies, the hero dies. We've seen movies where the hero dies, right? And then right afterwards, after the tears are shed, there's usually at least one tear shed in that moment, the hero comes back. There's a change, though. The hero comes back, they're a different person. They now have a certain stature. They have a certain will. They have a certain clarity, a certain understanding of where they belong. And the actions they take are no longer the weak actions they took in the past. They're now more intentional. They're now more aware. The actions they take are now more impactful. That's what this weekend is. After this, just like every movie, you have to go back. It's the people you knew before. Right? You've heard this. You've been to these events before. You know what's happening in here with the changes you're experiencing, the death, the rebirth, this new opportunity, the coming back with the elixir, right? Coming back with the thing you discovered, the new tool, right? The new opportunity you acquired that makes you different from every other realtor, content creators out there. That new asset, you now have to bring it back to your people because they've not gone through the transformation you have. And they won't quite understand it, so you've got to meet them where they are. Are you willing to take this challenge on? Are you willing to do what it takes to be the person for your community when you go back? It takes a level of commitment. It takes a level of intensity. It's not being the same person. By the way, there's nothing wrong with the way you are today, or the way you have been, unless you believe you'd like different results. There's nothing wrong. One of my friends, he was a coach for Tony Robbins for 3 years, and he helps us build millionaires. He occasionally says something that I love. He says, I love you for who you are and for who you are not. And I want to say that to you because no matter what, whether you stay on this mission and you go and you change the world, or you decide to fall into somebody who who you truly are not, I want you to know that it's your choice and it's nobody else's. Nobody gets to tell you what you want to do, who you want to be. But if you believe that you could be more, then I think you should. And I say should without shitting on you. Let's take questions. Questions on investing or, by the way, I will say I learned a lot from Karen about YouTube. And I have not done it all. So I do want to say I became a multimillionaire without having tons of subscribers, but I did send a video out that made me $1 million. One video. And I didn't send it to strangers. I sent it to a very curated list of people, and I just said, hey, watch this video. Raised $1 million. So what you're learning is so important, you're just not using it right. It's kind of like getting the tools and the skills and then going into battle with a spoon instead of the sword. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Yes.
question. I had a lead who found me on my YouTube channel. Yay.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Yay.
It works.
I was doing new construction videos in my
Yes.
city. So anyways, he's a builder. And he was looking into buying a piece of land and asked me if I knew about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. So long story short, that piece of land didn't work for him. But he told me at the end of the conversation, and I was like, I don't know what to do, where he said, if my total all-in is $700K, land, electrical, septic, the building of the house, I want the land to be 20% of that total cost. And he goes, if you can find that for me and I build it, I'm gonna have you list it. And I'm going, that sounds great, but I don't know how to research those numbers is if that makes any sense, because I don't know how much it costs to put electrical on a property and
what's your name?
what a septic, Danae Hewitt from Dallas-Fort Worth.
Danae Hewitt. Let's give Danae a round of applause. This is the lesson I discovered this week while I was hanging out with Trish and Michelle. I realized that this lesson, every realtor in this room, if you learn it, when you learn it, will change your business and change this industry.
Okay.
Ask the investor. They know.
What?
They're smarter than you. This is the problem. This is the problem I had as a realtor. I didn't realize the investors actually knew more than I knew. They do it actually professionally. We're just licensed. But their bottom line, like you ask that investor, say, hey, what is that number? What are your hard costs? And then what would the land have to be? The investor knows. He's thinking you know because you got the license. But if you are humble enough to ask the investor, hey, what is that number for you? Because by the way, that number will change for every investor ever. There is no set number. What is that number for you? Now that investor feels heard. Like you're listening to him. Well, like no other realtor on the planet will listen to an investor and ask them that number. So when you say, hey, what is your number? That investor now feels like a human being instead of just a client. And they'll go into, here's how I evaluate my shit. Here's how it's done. And they will respect you for that.
That sounds so easy.
I know.
But I really left the conversation going,
It's easy if you're humble. Right, it's easy if
Okay.
you're humble, but it's not easy if you're some new licensed agent who thinks they got to know everything and is like trying to tell investors what to do. Because think about it, when we work with retail buyers, we have to be the authority. But when we work with investors, these are ego-driven, typically men, very high-powered people. Like I told Dorina all the time, like I need some feminine energy right now because I've been out there being a little bitch to these guys. Like I've been like, whatever you want, So. Like it's hard, right? As a guy, I'm just like, whatever you would like, sir. Yes, of course. Is that the number now? What else would, So it is difficult, and I understand this for every one of you. It is difficult to listen to your clients and ask what they want. But when it's an investor, they're so specific, they will tell you. And then they will love you for listening.
yeah. Okay, that makes a ton of sense. I need to call him.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Can I dovetail on her?
Kelly, dovetail.
Because that was such a great question, and I'm just curious, like, what if you've got an investor who's going into a territory or a market that they don't actually have that information? Like, they've done all of their deals in Idaho, and now they're going to do something in Nebraska or whatever, Like, they don't know those numbers.
Kelly, that's perfect. So for each realtor in this market, you must know your numbers. It's non-negotiable, right? You must know the numbers in your market. The easiest way to do that is find local investors who are already investing and take them out to lunch or breakfast and ask them, hey, what's going on? In fact, how I build millionaires, the easiest way we do it, we call it the recession-proof challenge. I actually teased Karen. I said, like, I usually charge $1,000 for this. But if they buy your program, I will give it for free. It's a 21-day challenge where I show agents how to contact 100 millionaires in your market who own real estate, the real estate millionaires in your market, and how to take them out to lunch. And if you do that, Kelly, then you not only have access to 100 relationships who might sell their real estate with you, by the way, because we can't take it with us. We're just stewards. We can only hold it for a time. They might lend on some of your clients' deals, or they may become powerful mentors for you to connect your clients with, so that your clients start being like, I buy real estate because this person who owns 10 houses told me to do it this way. And the realtor who connected me is the only one I do deals with. Right? Because network is so important. They need their mentors. So that to me, is the easiest answer is to just connect them with the local mentors. You don't have to be the genius, but hang with those mentors and eventually you will. Eventually you'll be able to do what I do. Yes.
So do you extend that offer to already existing members of Karen's?
I will let Karen make that decision. If they pay today at this weekend, I will say yes. Because this is a part of the elixir, right? It's part of the rule of the game is you must put skin in the game today in order for me to know you're still serious.
We've already put skin in the game, but before.
Like, how long ago are we talking? If it was 2 years ago, I don't count that shit.
No, several months ago.
Fresh blood?
Yeah.
Fresh blood, okay, yes.
Anyway, so my question was, what was that video that you made that made you $1 million? And
It was an investor video. It was an investor presentation on the property that I was investing in. I did a rendition, just like we do with video here. I sent it out to a Fiverr person, and they did a video rendition of the building it was going to be. And then the investors came in. I just sent the video to investors. And they said, I want to invest in that. And I did all the catering of that video the same way I would with the YouTube video, except minus the sound and the music effects because they're investors. But I did all the other, you know, PowerPoint presentation, and it worked. And you raise millions of dollars doing that. Great question. Let's give her a round of applause. Good questions. Are we having fun? Yeah. Are we learning? Yeah. All right, I'm learning edutainment from Karen. So she's first.
So,
I got 2 minutes? No, it says I got 1 minute and 22 seconds. Yeah. I'm over? Oh, no, I got 2 minutes. You're the last one.
really quickly,
Receive the best for last.
are you only working with residential or commercial or both?
I don't say no to any money, but I do market
just-
myself as multifamily.
Okay. And you work with international investors?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Let's give her a round of applause. Great
I'm a
question.
commercial agent.
Let's go.